India, former Principal Scientist and Head, Division of Entomology and Nematoology. Dr. Verghese was also the expert member, University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore, and expert member, University of Agricultural Horticulture Sciences, Shimoga, Karnataka. Currently, he is the Editor-in-Chief of Insect Environment, Asian Representative, International Steering Committee on Fruit Fly, and also faculty at the International Hardware Institute of Leadership, USA. Besides being faculty at several universities in India, he has several prestigious fellowships, and some important ones are Fellow of Royal Entomological Society, London, Fellow of Association for Advancement in Biodiversity Sciences, Fellow of Society for Biocontrol Advancement. Dr. Verghese has headed 21 research projects under various government schemes such as ICAR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, DST, Department of Science and Technology, DBT, Department of Biotechnology, and many other schemes. Dr. Verghese has published 384 research papers in international and national journals, 5 scientific books, more than 1,000 popular articles. He has authored 2 books, Watching Insects, and a fiction novel, Living Dowry. Dr. Abraham Verghese has been honored with several awards such as Lifetime Achievement Award at the World Biodiversity Congress, University of Sri Lanka, Award of Excellence in Scientific Category, Indian Institute of Horticultural Research, Bengaluru, AusAid International Award from Australia, and many other such awards. I am very happy and honored to have you here in our midst, sir. I request you to come on stage and share.
I need to thank Father Victor Lobo for facilitating this. Father Roshan also, I'm glad I met him. I'm grateful to Dr. Jayashankar. Now, he's one of our very dynamic naturalists in the country. And because of him, I'm here. Keep doing, keep going, keep it up. Dr. Avinash, hello, and all your row shop members. I see that nice camouflage, the dress, good. The great faculty around, Dr. Santosh, Dr. Sampson, Dr. Viola, and I would also like to introduce Dr. M.A. who's the co-chief editor of Insect Environment. She's over there. And she and Viola and all our students in the department. They invited me for a cup of tea. Not that I was very particular about the tea, but I was very particular about getting into the zoology department. It's almost 52 years after that I'm entering the zoology department of St. Joseph's College. Don't keep guessing my age at this point of time. But, I recall the professor of zoology, Dr. Joseph, I don't know whether you remember him, Dr. Then Peter D'Souza, and there were several who taught me zoology, and I was here only for 1 year because it's batch of the first of the PUC. So I'm an old student of St. Joseph's College. Being an old student, I should look old, and therefore I was thrilled to come in here. Now, nesting box. Congratulations, Samson. I know you should have more ideas. You can get into other forms of nest also. And it was in somewhere in 1972 that I began bird watching. I was always interested in fiction, and I used to go into the library and borrow fiction books to read. And there was one misplaced book in the fiction section that was the book on birds by Dr. Salim Ali. So I just happened to flip through, and I found that the language was as good as any English literature books. So if you go through Dr. Salim Ali's book, you'll find it is superb. And I began reading it. And when I began reading it, I felt I should start watching. And that's how, so I went into the field and I used to wander and look into birds, come back and compare. Those days the book was costly, so we couldn't afford it, so it was only 40 rupees. That book, so only library was the only go. Today is only 400 rupees, all of you can afford several such books. Now, and in a matter of 6 months, I could spot only 9 birds. I was so discouraged. So the best thing I thought I should do is to write to Dr. Salim Ali himself. So 25 paisa and inland, wrote a letter to him, don't know his address, so what to do? I just wrote Dr. Salim Ali, Bombay Natural History Society, Bombay. Those days it was still Bombay. And promptly came the reply, that is Dr. Salim Ali. You should know him, the doyen of Indian ornithology. So he said, there's nothing to worry. I'm going to give you a list of 9 members of the Bombay Natural History Society in Bengaluru. So you please contact any of them and they may give you guidance, help. So one of the members was Dr. Joseph George, who happened to be my father's friend and was the director of the Indian Plywood Industries Research Institute in Pina, a great bird watcher. And he came from Dehradun that year. That was 1972, and I went to him. So he was very generous. He gave me his pair of binoculars because binoculars was forbidden item. It was never available easily. Today, off the shelves you can take it. And he gave me his book on the birds of India. And that's how it started. So soon it was 20 birds, 25 birds, 23 birds. And the first bird I saw through the binoculars was Indian Merops orientalis. And it thrilled that still remains. Even that thought, is so thrilling. So that's began. And then Dr. Joseph George said, Bangalore needs to generate a lot of bird watching. So shall we form a bird watchers club? So we all decided, and one point was it was an unregistered, an informal club. Bird watchers club was formed. And it is at that time, Mr. Zafar Futtah, the founder of the newsletter for bird watchers, of which I am also one of the editors now, relocated to Bangalore. I don't know whether you've heard of Zafar Futtah Ali, there's no more. So Zafar Futtah Ali, Dr. Joseph George, we were about 10 of us, you are a far bigger number now, sitting here, okay. So just 10 of us, we started. And the first club that came was an ecology club at the University of Agricultural Sciences in GKDK. Those days it was HEBA. And the bird watching began in that sense. And we were the first to record the red-headed merlin in Bangalore, which is published in the Journal of the Bombay Natural History Society. We also started working the economic ornithology dimension, birds and munias. Munias were pests on most of these millets, things of that sort. Even those papers you'll find. Now, we documented and said they don't damage more than 6 or 7%, so let them eat those millets, the navane, the ragi and all that. Don't have to control them or chase them, So, if munias are not found in this campus, it means this campus is very clean and there are no grasses here. Okay? Unless you have grasses, you won't get munias here. Yep. So, I'm just quoting this just to give you a dimension that unless there is a vegetative diversity, birds don't come. By the end of the 70s, we had a list of all the birds of Bangalore, and including all the outskirts, etc. There were about 320 birds. And today, that number has come down to somewhere like 270. So, we have lost about 50 species of birds in Bangalore alone. Okay? So, the vultures are no longer seen, or rarely seen. Red-headed merlin has disappeared. And urbanization. If you take this campus and keep intensively watching, which are the kite, the Milvus migrants is nesting. And Jayshankar was telling, and the small green rabbit was greeting us, the Merops. not perhaps Megalema, that's the name for the bellwether. Now, these birds are the only birds you find here, and if you find more than 20 birds, it's a good place. It's a good, bird ecology wise, it's quite good. But move down into Lal Bagh, and you will find that the bird number is much more. It may be about 70s, 80s. You will still have the paradise flycatcher in Lal Bagh. So also in the Indian Institute of Science campus, where there's a lot of tree and woods. So that's the beauty. But one thing, the owls have come down. The big lights they hate. So they don't come over there. So that way they have lost our jungle owlet, barn owlet. They're all become extremely rare. Now this is what this group can do. You can document, redocument, and suggest to the government what has to be done to encourage birds. I'll give you an example and then close. In the year 1970, it was 79-80, the horticulture department decided that the tank in the southern part of Lal Bagh should be converted into a hotel, and an island built. It had a natural island connected with a road along the bunds, and have a hotel, and with all the singing and dancing in the night, have boating, and make it a recreation center, And when we got a whiff of it, we went to the press and said the bird life in Lal Bagh would be doomed if this happens, And then we met the horticulture director, who was an IAS officer, Mr. Bhattacharjee, and he was convinced. And so he shelved the project. And it is the effort of the Bird Watchers Club. Today, if you go to that same tank, you find cormorants, the darters, the snake birds, and many of these interesting night herons, birds over there. But a lot of activity goes around the tank in terms of walking and the training school. And therefore, some of the birds which are very sensitive, the jasanas, for example, they have left the place. The teals, which used to, Aedes turcula, that's I think it's called the brown-winged or white-winged teal. That also doesn't come there. The brown gulls, that doesn't come there. So we are losing some birds, we are getting some birds. Now, what is the objective of this group? Should be to get the numbers, species, diversity increase. And I tell you, I keep watching birds, and watching birds keeps me mentally active and quite enthusiastic. And through birds you can meet. I'm an entomologist. Professionally, I'm a trained entomologist. So you can meet the insects, you can meet your the amphibians, the frogs. They're very much so interconnected with the food web. So I want you all to. And some of you all may get into software, some of you all may get into whatever profession. Don't leave this, because this is the greatest gift God has given us, nature. And be with nature, and then you will be quite youthful and enthusiastic. Okay? So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. All the best and God bless. Thank you.